Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Arjun Chaudhary. Here are the top stories that we're tracking for you on Friday, the 1st of January. Pakistan's military court awards death sentence to 9 on terror charges. Odd-even vehicular restriction plan kicks off in India's capital. And Bollywood presents a new age love story with Ishq Forever. And now for all the details. The Delhi government's odd-even vehicular restriction policy came into force on New Year's Day. Starting on a trial basis for 15 days, the policy evoked mixed response, with some welcoming it, while some flouting rules and driving even-numbered vehicles on a day marked for odd-numbered vehicles. A report.
From the 1st to 15th of January, the state government is introducing a new rule for private vehicles with odd and even registration numbers that will be allowed to operate only on alternate days. The state government hopes this move will restrict the number of cars on the roads and with it curb air pollution. Arvind Kejriwal, Delhi's chief minister, took an oath along with hundreds of children, promising to convince their families to adhere to this odd-even formula.
Actually, ये तभी successful होगा जब बहुत बड़ा movement बन जाएगा, जब सब लोगों के दिल से ये बात निकलेगी.
Many are exempted from this odd-even restriction. Women driving alone, cars driven by physically disabled or VIP vehicles, two-wheelers and vehicles that run on compressed natural gas will also be allowed on all days. Anticipating the increased use of public transport by residents, the Delhi Metro has increased the frequency of its services and extra buses will be operational. But politicians say little thought has gone into the planning of this move.
India is not a completely developed country. And if you go to developed countries where there is a composite transport system, where public transport system is dependable, but in Delhi you will find we don't have enough public transport system.
The government is convinced that allowing private vehicles on alternate days will drastically reduce air pollution in Delhi, which is more than 10 times the safety limit imposed by the World Health Organization.
मैं ये कहूँगा कि आप जो है इसमें मदद कीजिएगा. कारण ये है कि ये अपनी किसी के अपने लाभ या हानि के लिए नहीं है, ये पर्यावरण की सुरक्षा के लिए है.
मैं चाहूंगा कि सारे लोग इसको अपनाएं. कारपूल एक बहुत मजेदार तरीका है आने जाने का. इसमें साथ में आप जाते हैं, आपको जाने में बोरियत नहीं होती है, बातचीत करते जाते हैं, पोल्यूशन को आप बचाते हैं, देश को पेट्रोल बचाते हैं. बहुत अच्छी चीज है, लोग अपनाएं, कोई कठिन नहीं है.
The Delhi government too sees this as a short-term emergency measure. With 7.4 million vehicles already on its roads and a 1,200 added every day, Delhi will need a comprehensive strategy to reduce vehicular pollution. Till such a time, environmentalists are welcoming this short-term measure.
In neighboring Pakistan, 9 people have been given death sentences by the military court in the country on terror charges. Pakistan's Army Chief General Raheel Sharif confirmed the death warrants for the 9 men. The men, termed as hardcore terrorists by the military's media wing ISPR, have been charged for offences including an attack on the Parade Lane Mosque, ISI headquarters in Multan, attacks on law enforcement agencies, and the kidnapping and murder of civilians in Lahore. Military courts in Pakistan were given the power to try suspected terrorists in January last year after the dreadful Peshawar Army School attack. According to the government, hundreds of cases have been heard in the military courts since then, but there is limited information about the defendants or on the charges or evidence against them. Moving on to news from Afghanistan. Afghan President Ashraf Ghani has said that Taliban must end terrorism for peace talks. The Afghan peace process has not been able to resume yet due to internal rift within the Taliban.
Officials of Afghanistan, Pakistan, China and US are due to meet this month to lay the groundwork for resumption of peace talks with Taliban. Ahead of the quadrilateral meeting, President Ghani has laid condition on peace process.
مسئله اساسی یک انتخاب است. انتخاب برای که صلح را انتخاب میکنن یا تروریسم. انتخاب دوم وجود نداره و قدمی که برداشته شده ایست که امروز در چارچوب همکاری چارجانبه برای تروریسم جای تحمل نخواهد باشه.
But the leadership crisis within Taliban after the confirmation of death of its long-time leader Mullah Omar in July has cast a shadow on the prospect of the resumption of peace talks. As internal rivalry within the Taliban prevails, it is difficult to ascertain which faction of the outfit will be open to talks and which would be committed to insurgency. As far as the Taliban is concerned, its main group has rejected peace talks as long as foreign troops in NATO's assistance mission remain in Afghanistan.
Staying on news from the country, Afghanistan president has said that his security forces have killed over 160 of Islamic State fighters in operations this week. Recently, at least 14 fanatics affiliated to the Islamic State were killed in airstrikes carried out by the Afghan force in the eastern Nangarhar province. The airstrikes pounded the sanctuaries of the terror group in the Aichin district. Confirming the report, Afghanistan's Ministry of Defense added that over 12 IS extremists have been injured and numerous weapons, ammunition and explosives were also destroyed in the raids. The Afghan forces have stepped up their counter-terrorism operations against the IS in many districts of Nangarhar province as the insurgency activities by IS fanatics have been rampant during the recent months. India's growth prospects look bright given its considerable population in working age groups. However, the country needs to produce more skilled labor to tap the potential. A report.
With more than 60% of its 1.2 billion people in the working age group, India is projected to emerge as the world's youngest nation by 2020. But while the country boasts a youthful demographic, its economy suffers from a shortage of skilled labor. Of the 12 million young people that join the labor market every year, just slightly more than 1/4 are skilled workers.
Indian youth are providing, the young labor, the young caliber, the skill. However, the real issue is the Indian government is not really able to provide good education and good skill. A lot of politics in educational sector, the quality of teachers are not very good. So all those problems have to be tackled. Only then Indian youth would really be able to contribute to the extent they can.
India is expected to surpass China as the most populated country over the next decade. While population growth has its pros and cons, observers say creating a sustainable population is crucial to maintain economic growth.
Its policy should be inclusive. It should be kind of, visualized in such a way or prepared in such a way that it benefits all sections of people. Particularly, we have to ensure that the benefits of growth goes to the intended beneficiaries, the poor, the marginalized, the tribal, the Dalits, the women and all sections. So I think there is a lot of optimism, but yes, full of challenges.
India is projected to overtake China by 2050 as Asia's principal source of workers. And it has also set its sights on becoming next economic superpower. But to realize this, the government is going all out to produce a healthy labor force, one that needs requisite education and skills to take the nation's growth to the next level.
Despite the ongoing talks between the Madhesi leaders and the Nepalese government, the standoff over the country's new constitution continues. The leaders of the ethnic community believe that the talks are not significant as the government is not serious towards their demands.
The situation remains tense in Nepal's southern Janakpur city as members of the Madhes community continued their protest against the Nepal's new constitution. Shouting slogans against the government, protesters also pelted stones at the security personnel on Thursday. Around 100 people were injured in Nepal's historical town during the agitation held early in the week. Despite the recent announcement by the government to resolve the crisis and its ongoing talks with Madhesi leaders, the community continues its agitation.
वार्ता तो हो रहा है, लेकिन वार्ता के लिए सरकार जितनी गंभीर होनी चाहिए, जितनी उनका होमवर्क होनी चाहिए, जिस बात पे जो हम लोगों ने अपनी मांग रखी है, उसके बारे में वो लोग कोई खास सोच अभी नहीं बनाए हैं. इसलिए वार्ता तो हो रही है, लेकिन कोई सार्थक वार्ता नहीं हो रही है. वार्ता कोई खास आगे नहीं बढ़ रही.
The Madhesi agitation in Nepal has paralyzed the landlocked nation, depriving it of essential supplies from India, as the protesters have blocked the India-Nepal border trade points. Despite several negotiations, the Nepal government and Madhesi leaders have failed to reach an understanding to end the turmoil.
Well, that's the way it was in South Asia this evening. Before we conclude, the top stories once again. Pakistan's military court awards death sentence to 9 on terror charges. Odd-even vehicular restriction plan kicks off in India's capital. And Bollywood presents a new age love story with Ishq Forever. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We'll see you same time next week. Have a great weekend and good night.